Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, YouTube. Episode 4 of the Just Be Essence podcast. I'm here with Andrew and a special guest. Andrew, why don't you go ahead and introduce Gina here for us?
Yeah, we got a very special guest with us today. We have Gina V, the host of Sports Laugh and Chill on YouTube. And she's been a good friend of mine for the last couple of years. We've done shows together over the years, and she is one of the best in the business. So you be sure you guys go check out Sports Laugh and Chill on YouTube. She'll talk more about it towards the end of the show. But Gina, welcome. Welcome to the Just Be podcast.
Thank you. Thanks you guys for having me. And yes, it's an honor for me to be here. Yeah, Andrew, we go way back to my first ever podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast in the podcast game, if you will. I'm honored to be here because this is your first YouTube podcast, right?
Yeah.
And this and Sports Laugh and Chill is my first podcast channel. So on YouTube. So yeah, this is awesome that we get to do this together.
Hell yeah. And obviously we have a fun little matchup this weekend, although not necessarily too fun for us in particular because of everything going on. But the Browns take on the 49ers at home. Luckily, that is about our only advantage in this one. Gina, I mean, obviously they're rolling. They are clear early favorites right now, I would say, with just how dominant they've been. They came off a really dominant win in Dallas. How are you feeling about the 49ers so far?
In general, how do I feel?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it, I think, is it's in parallels to the 2019-20 season when we went to the Super Bowl that season. Of course, that was with Jimmy G, and a lot of people will say he is a mediocre quarterback, and I can't really argue with that. And that year, I believe we started off, was it 6 or 7-0? And then we lost that game to Seattle Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
And we had picked up a kicker right off the street.
We've done that before.
Yeah. What's his name? He's still in the league. Chase
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. Yes.
Yeah. I think we had him too, didn't we? Not injured.
Yeah, we had Chase McLaughlin. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
He's not that bad, but
No.
he had made a couple of crucial kicks that night, but he ended up, anyways, long story short, we lost the Super Bowl. And I think if we had Brock, you never know how that might have turned out. Yeah. Of course, we played Patrick Mahomes, and anyways, I don't want to talk about that anymore.
I'm glad you made it.
We did make it, and I know you Browns fans have, feel some type of way.
Yeah, we're feeling for one.
Yeah. You're Browns fan. But yeah, so we started off hot that year, and now this year, we're starting off hot again, and it is week 5. Week 6 now, and it's still really early. Some people say that, you don't want to peak too early and then come to realize that, it's just all fun and games in the beginning. But I feel we murdered the Cowgirls, and everyone said, you haven't played really good teams. And now apparently we did, or so we thought they were a good team.
Yeah.
Apparently, the same could be said about the Cowgirls. They played shitty teams too. Mm-hmm. And then they played us and got slaughtered. So, there you have it, right?
Yeah.
And then other people were saying, well, they didn't have Trayvon Diggs, blah, blah, blah. But, injuries are a part of the game.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel really confident. Fred Warner, one of my favorite players on the team, if not the best player on the team. You can argue Nick Bosa, is, a beast. And our defense has always been one of our main identities of our team, throughout the years. And as well as our run game. And we've got Christian McCaffrey. You
That
know,
will definitely help a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, this guy was or is part of the MVP conversation. He probably won't
Absolutely.
win, but I love hearing that,
He's part of it for sure. There's
Yeah.
no doubt about that.
So, as many weapons as we have, I don't see why we can't win the NFC championship. Who it will be against? Probably the Eagles. We shall see. But I think we stand a really good chance of making it to the Super Bowl and winning.
No, I completely agree. I think you guys do have like I really do think you guys are probably the best team in the NFL right now, like hands down. Like I know people would argue probably your Kansas City Chiefs or even the Bills, Dolphins, whatever, but
Yeah, Dolphins are really good.
I think personally for me, the 49ers are probably the most complete team in the NFL. They have one of the best offenses, but not only that, they have one of the best defenses too. And obviously, like you said, Fred Warner leading that defensive team. Like it's like you guys are just built to win championships year after year. And it has to feel good because obviously for up here, we think we have a good solid team, and then things turn for the worse every single time, and we end up not making the playoffs. And then we all know how the story goes, but how do you feel about coming up to Cleveland where, it's going to be a little bit colder, probably a lot of weather coming our way? I mean, it's starting to rain now, and probably, even though it's going to be cloudy tomorrow, it's still most likely rain. How do you think the 49ers will handle the midst of Northeast Ohio, Cleveland weather, where it's going to be very cold, very wet, rainy, almost like the Cincinnati Bengals week 1, where throwing the ball is going to be almost impossible?
Yeah, I've heard the word or the term trap game being thrown around, and that could certainly be, possible. Yeah, and for an away game, but we did beat the Steelers, and they, were likely to I mean, they had never lost. The Steelers had never lost opening day game, opening week. So for us to beat Tomlin was remarkable. And who knows if Purdy's gonna, have a bad game. He hasn't yet. 30 points. I think that's what we're averaging. I don't know what the math is on that, because I heard something like we're averaging 20. It was like a lower number, like 23 or 27. I'm like, but we score at least 30. But whatever, I'm not a mathematician. But we scored 30 points or more a game. So if we don't get that on the road, no big deal as long as we get that W. But I'm sure the weather's going to play a part because, Santa Clara, we don't have that kind of weather in the Bay. We just get rain,
It's warm
we don't
rain,
get
at least.
what's that?
It's warm rain at least. It's not that
Yeah.
cold 45-degree tied up rain. It's not.
No. And for us, the hottest weather we get, like when it's 80 degrees, we're wearing dresses, rompers, shorts, it's hot weather for us.
Yeah, I'm sweating there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it's like totally different for us. We're like, ooh, hot day. Everybody, everybody's out of the house and like just celebrating that it's hot, And I'm not talking about like outside I mean like San Francisco-ish, like probably people up, in the East Bay are probably different, but where I grew up in San Francisco, like a hot day is just like, oh my God, 85 degrees is like probably 110 to other people.
Yeah.
But so, yeah, it's weather will play a factor unless some players are used to it,
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to play a factor. It's even going to play a factor for us because, with a game like that, you want to try to run the ball a little bit. Obviously, since we've lost our stud and Nick Chubb, it's been a little harder for us. And even more so now, we're going to be missing Batonio, it sounds like, this week, which is a big loss for this O-line. He's the most consistent guy we have there.
Yeah.
It's going to play a part. So it's going to be interesting to see how both, offenses and defenses play. Because, I mean, I know you guys have played some good teams so far, but also this Browns defense is probably one of the better ones you've seen up to this point besides Dallas. So how are you feeling about that?
Or TJ Watt. I mean,
yeah. So how are you feeling about that? Because this Browns defense is probably the only true light right now that we've had consistently with this team so far this year.
Well, yeah, that's why I think, it could be a trap game. And we just got to make sure that, we got help for Trent on our O-line, and we protect Purdy at all costs. Yeah, if you guys can stop our run game, that's going to be significant because, if Purdy goes back to throw or has to scramble, we got to worry about sacks, and Brock has been so like incredible with his completions too.
Yeah.
So we definitely need that extra protection. We just got to make sure that our O-line is A1.
Which, don't get me wrong, you guys also have probably, I would say, one of the better lines as well, besides the Eagles is up there. But, I mean, Trent Williams he's arguably the best left tackle in the league right now.
Right. Exactly.
So obviously that is, that is going to help you guys. But it's going to be interesting. But I know with us, Drew, Brown's Twitter this week has been relentless in terms of the Watson mishandling of just everything. It seems like the team has been kind of off-putty about really what's been going on with the shoulder, and really like what's truly going on. Because before that Ray Evans game, he was cleared to play, quote unquote, and he still didn't play. And now they're saying he has not been cleared to play. Drew, what's your thoughts going on this week with everything going on? Because it's been quite frustrating to be on Twitter this week.
No, it's been really frustrating to be on Twitter all week. I mean, like you said, I think the front office and the team as a whole just completely mishandled this whole Deshaun Watson situation. Why? All you have to do is just come out and say, listen, it's worse than we thought. He's going to be out a couple of weeks. Yeah. Easy as pie. That's all you have to say.
Shut him down. And just shut him down. And just say, hey, this is how things are going to go, but we are playing for the longevity of this season, especially with a tough game. Like, if he is going to sit out a game, this is going to be the game, because it could go one of two ways. It could be a very fun game, or it's going to be an ugly game, especially with guys like Jed Wills, who have really, really struggled, as we've talked about. That's a concern that we have right now, Gina, because you guys have an impressive D-line, obviously, Nick Bosa, but now you've also added Randy Gregory, which is another interesting guy that's there. I mean, he's done it in this league, and it didn't seem to work out there in Denver. So now that you guys have that added, this is going to be an intriguing matchup also, because, again, we've had some really weird struggles so far on our O-line, which was a strength of ours for the last few years. It seems like it's going down in the gutter a little bit. So, yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I feel very nervous about this game. I can't lie.
Yeah. And Randy Gregory also before that was at Dallas. So he, was kind of like that, coming from a rival team, it kind of gives us a little bit of that extra edge too, because now he's like, ooh, it's kind of like of the past, way back in the day when like we got like, Norton and some other guys from Dallas, and they came on our team, and then vice versa. Owens went to Dallas, and prime time went to Dallas. There's always that extra like, I'm gonna get you, So yeah, it adds like fuel to the fire. So
absolutely,
yeah. Revenge tours, but
yeah, no kidding.
Hopefully not against us.
No, I know.
I really
but
need
like,
to break this.
Hey, I'm ready to come out and like show my stuff, It's like against the Browns, right? Like, well, it's my time to shine, man. Like I'm on the 49ers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and obviously with the mishandling of the Deshaun Watson situation, Zach, we've talked about this plenty of times. Even years prior, we've talked about this so many times. DTR struggled so heavily against the Ravens, and now we selected PJ Walker as the next man up, and DTR is now the third string backup. Zach, how do you feel about PJ Walker now being the quote unquote veteran now on the team? As I put air quotes around veteran because he played a few games with Carolina last year. And what's your feeling on PJ Walker going into this game? And is it going to be the same game plan we did with DTR, where we just kind of threw him out there and just said, "Hey, listen, buddy, it's all you. Like, you go out there. If you die, you're dead.
Yeah.
But hey, look,
If he dies, he dies.
Yes. I mean, look, I think that this should have been the way that we handled it against the Ravens as well. I think throwing DTR out there too soon, like, I just don't want to ruin the kids' confidence. Like, and we've seen it so many times, especially with us, Drew. Deshaun Kaiser comes to mind. The dude got his whole confidence ruined. The poor kid is just never going to play a down a game because we killed it. And I just don't want to see that. Yeah. And I just don't want to see that with Thompson because the kid has talent. He's got a good head on his shoulders. So I'm glad that we at least decided to go with PJ. I think he can handle it a little bit more. He's got some guys to throw the ball to. It's just up to the O-line being able to keep him upright and not let him get killed because he's not a very big guy either. I think PJ is about 5'10". So he's not a very big guy. But the main thing for us is just get the ball rolling a little bit on offense and keep this defense off the field a little bit for us because we saw it not last week, but the week prior when we did play the Ravens. The defense was out there pretty much almost the entire game, and when that happens, it's going to be tough for that defense to really hold a good offensive team 10 points, like we have the last few weeks. So get the ball rolling on offense, and if PJ can even do that even minorly and put some points on the board, we do have a chance because I strictly do believe in this defense. So Jim Schwartz had 2 weeks to prepare for this. So I know he's going to be ready. It's going to be Will Stefanski and company be ready because obviously the San Fran defense is no joke. And Fred Warner is the shining star right now. It was a guy we could have gotten back in 2018, I think, Drew. We could have gotten him, and we missed him. And now he is thriving at San Fran. So, yeah. Lots of question marks still, but I am glad that they went with PJ because I think that's the right move. I think he can handle a little bit better. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I think PJ would have been the more comfortable option going against Ravens because obviously he has played some NFL games, so I think he would have been the more comfortable option and a guy who probably would have done a little bit more than take, 6 sacks, through almost 3 interceptions. You kind of have that feel for someone like DTR who is a rookie and just got thrown to the wolves and just struggled so heavily. And as I'm looking, obviously the matchup predictor on ESPN has San Francisco as 74% favorites. Yeah. And I forget what the line is now.
Not 99%? No.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I would look at it.
So I told you, trap game. No.
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty sure the line right now, or at least when I saw it, was I think San Fran was like -6.
I think it should be higher.
So, yeah,
I think it should be like that should be like minus like 14 and a half or something.
Yeah, I can check FanDuel real quick just to see because I really don't think I'm even going to place a bet on this game. I really don't feel good about it.
I'm just going to put on the 49ers money line. That's all.
Right. Yeah, 49ers money line, CMC score. All that stuff.
Well, speaking of which, too, Gina, Christian McCaffrey on a 14-15 game touchdown run
to break a record, I think.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I mean,
15 straight games is insane.
Woo. Yeah, let me just go back to saying best trade. Best trade last year.
Hands down.
There was some grade like ESPN or whatever that we just keep popping it back up on Instagram and Twitter. Like it was given like a C- on, he's, injury pro. I've said this back, I think when I was at IE Sports Radio, on when I was podcasting on Spaces, and um, if you put a player, no, not even a player, if you put a person who is employed or anything, I don't know if they're interning, whatever, in a different work environment, a different environment, and from a shitty place,
Yeah.
and you put them in a brand new place and they're happier, I bet you anything they stop having stomach aches, migraines, fucking
Injury.
just yeah, exactly. Everything starts feeling better. I mean, just look.
CMC,
And I know this
deserves it.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think CMC deserves that trade. Even though obviously Carolina, it just didn't work out and it was getting ugly there. Like, I'm really happy for him because he's been a solid player. He has not been a like troublesome player. Like, he's a likable dude. So like, it's just nice to see him in a nice spot and he's thriving. And it also takes a little bit off of Debo because that was an issue with you guys too. Is Debo didn't want to necessarily be that like halfback sort of vibe where where he's getting almost like 80% of the snaps. And
Right.
it's either he's in the backfield or he's playing wide out. So it's nice to see that as well. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure that's got to be nice too, especially just for the team in general, because it keeps everything nice and level headed and everyone's happy.
Plus, we always, so when we draft, we're always drafting running backs, which, is kind of a smart move, but that's because they're always getting injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
So look at our, history, especially under the Shanahan era, constantly. And we're trading those guys away, McKinnon and all those Mostert and
Jeff Wilson, I think too.
Jeff Wilson Jr.
Basically half of the Miami Dolphins now.
Yeah. Breida, right?
Yeah, you went to Miami as well.
So you know what I'm saying?
Now, yeah.
Right. They were like, McDaniel's like, hey, let me get so I mean, yeah. And so running backs, I mean, there's also a level of disrespect because they're doing a lot. They're always injured. They need to get some kind of pay compensation. And then there's also, they're just put under a lot. But yeah, we have Debo who's doing a lot. And then you come across a gem like Christian McCaffrey, And one of actually our co-hosts on Sports Laugh and Chill Show Mondays and Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, actually went to Stanford with Christian and played with him. Jordan Watkins was on the D line, and so he got to see, Christian actually with Dalton Schultz as well. And one of the guys, I think on Philly, that I don't know if it was Philly or KC, but anyway, I can't remember, but yeah. So, he got to see firsthand how Christian was, such a gem. And, I'm just so lucky. I just feel spoiled. I mean, Ernie as a 49er fan, I've seen all 5 Super Bowls. All right. So I'm still greedy. All right.
Exactly.
I've seen 2 Super Bowl losses and I'm like, but to my son, but you don't understand. Right. You don't understand. Yeah. He's like, but they're losers, but no, he doesn't really say that, but he's just like, they like, why do I have to see, like 2 losses? And I'm like,
that's how we feel.
They were glory days, though.
Yeah. We weren't even thought about during glory days. I mean, not even in in the 80s days, or even very early 90s when you had Bernie and Brian Sipe. Like, we missed all of that. All we've known is losses, and so like when you have seasons like we had the last few years, it's tough not to feel a little more excited about a team. And it just, man, every year it's always something. It's never easy in Cleveland. It never is, and probably never will.
The best teams that me and Zach saw were 2002.
Cavs.
We saw 2007, which we didn't even make the postseason in 07 because we went 10-6
Fucking
too.
Peyton
We didn't
Manning,
even make
too.
it.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Remember that.
we went
Screwed
10-6
us out.
in 07, still didn't make the playoffs.
And
And then
then
obviously,
last game.
and then obviously the 2020 season, it's like, okay, this is the first playoff and the playoff win that we saw. I mean, we saw the playoffs in 02, but
Pittsburgh like that was, I mean, dude, that was probably the highlight of
my life.
Of my
Wait,
Browns fan.
Was that the year Pittsburgh had the perfect season?
No, they so they started off 12-0, and then they started going down.
Right,
they started going downhill a little bit, and
I knew they weren't going to go all the way.
We didn't either. We knew it. It was a weird season for them. They just did not have the just weapons, and it was one of those things where we were streaking, and as I said to Drew last week, every league always has those teams that they sort of coast throughout the first part of the year, and as soon as they get hot, like that's the team to really fear. It doesn't matter what your seeding scenario is. There's always a team that's going to make a run, and that year that the Browns did that, and it was really fun to watch. And we realistically should beat the Chiefs. We screwed around on that game, but it was the fun part. And now we're back here. We have not gone to the playoffs. It's been pretty much 8-8 or 8-9 as of late. So hopefully, I mean, as we said, Drew, like the last few, or I think the last 7 games of the year are really, really winnable games for us.
Mm-hmm.
We could still go on a tear, which is why I'm trying to tell our Browns fans, hey, stay positive, don't get too crazy. We're still 2-2, and even if we lose, it's not a divisional game. Like it really isn't going to affect us tremendously. And plus, I mean, a lot of people have doubted us, even with Watson, to beat San Fran. This was a team I think everybody thought we were lose to.
No, well, that's the thing. I think the line would still be at -6, even if we had.
It's 9.5 right now, by the way.
9.5.
now.
I still think the line. I still think it would be the same regardless. Even if we had Nick Chubb, even if we had Deshaun Watson, Joe Bitonio, everyone was healthy. I still think that line would still be a 9.5 because that's just how good San Francisco is, and you can't really blame us. It's like, oh, we're still healthy, but you know what? We're still gonna get crushed because it's the 49ers. Like that's how confident 49ers fans should feel. I mean, it's like, oh, well, we can go into any team and just beat the ever living shit out of them. And that has to be the best feeling in the world because, again, me and Zach have never felt that in our entire life. So, but for Gina, for you, I mean, what do you feel like is the end goal for the 49ers this season? Is it the Super Bowl? Are you guys, is that like the feeling around the Bay Area? Is like, it's make it or break it year? Like, is this Super Bowl or bust this year?
So I feel like that was, for me, I can't speak for everybody, but for me and one of my co-hosts, Rod Callie, we felt that way in the beginning of, I want to say, training camp up until maybe like week 1, week 2. And the reason why is because we were on Kyle Shanahan's head. Okay. We were on his head and we were like, you know what? Him and John Lynch, they better go to the fucking Super Bowl or, they're out of here. Like Super Bowl or bust, because they've been through Jimmy, Trey Lance. They're not giving that kid a chance. They got Sam Darnold. They got, Brandon Allen. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And getting rid of Trey now, so, but then Brock's winning games. They shipped Trey. Brock was looking good. Then they extend Kyle and John. And we're like, okay, Brock's the real deal. It's no longer Super Bowl or bust. We've got a kid who's a franchise QB. We're in it for the long haul.
Yeah. There you go.
So
and he's on. And he's on like the cheapest deal you can possibly give him because he was the last pick of the draft.
Yeah, and $900,000 a year.
You're not bringing it back there.
And if you know, if you know how much apartments are in San Francisco,
they're awful. I've heard they're
like
a few going,
$3,000
yeah.
a month or something for like a 2-bedroom or whatever. Oh, that's cheapest. That's cheapest, probably 4,000.
That's nuts.
I was paying 2,700 for a 2-bedroom, and that was rent control. And split by like 3 people. So he's splitting that with a roommate. And he drives like, I think, a Toyota Sequoia.
Yeah.
I mean, I love this kid, and he's engaged, like what a cute, like coming of age type story. Kid's like 20 something, but
He's
you
a
know what
good
I mean?
kid.
Like,
He's a good kid.
I love it, and it's just like a wholesome story, but the kid is the real deal,
Yeah.
and you put him in the Kyle Shanahan system. It's like you can't just think you could put anybody in there. Kyle wanted like a Kirk Cousins, fucking Matt Ryan. He wanted like a his guy type, short pass, little what do you call it? God, I'm losing my train of thought. Just the short pass, first down.
Slants, the dump balls.
Yeah, exactly. The slants and the,
I wish
so
we did more of that, honestly.
and screen passes and stuff like that. And he can also, now we know he could throw a deep ball, not deep, not no fucking Brett Favre and shit, but like he was thrown to Ayuk, them fucking behind the shoulder passes and shit, and we're like, oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
So we've got the franchise QB now? Okay. So now it's not Super Bowl or bust, but I think we're going to the Super Bowl, and I think we're winning it, I really don't want to go a perfect record,
No.
but before we had I knew before we had Brock as our QB1, I said we would go 14-3.
Yeah, I mean that's not. I mean, and that's not really a bad guess either. I mean, especially with how the season's going so far. I know for me and Andrew, I know when we had our early predictions, I said for the Browns, I would say anywhere from 10 to 12 games was mine at first,
Mm-hmm.
and I still think about 10 games is about where we'll be at. Because like I said, the last half of the season it's going to be very crucial for us, and I think that's what they're trying to bank on with Watson, just getting healthy. But yeah, I mean. Brock Purdy has certainly showed himself, absolutely. But I got to admit, it's got to be much easier for him to not only have a great, O-line like he does, but also having a solid run game and also having plenty of guys to throw to. Between Debo and Ayuk is finally starting to show up. It's just great because he's a great route runner. And then you have, you have the big, guy over here, 85, and George Kittle, who needs to get me more fantasy points every week. I'm tired of him getting 3 targets.
I know, right?
But
we just have so many weapons.
Exactly. So like, it definitely has to help. So I mean, I'm sure you can see why people are saying he's that more of like that system quarterback where he's just sort of pivoting in, but he's also just doing his role. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask out of a quarterback. Keep the ball away from the opposing team and put points on the board. That's all you have to do as a quarterback. I think teams try to make it really way too complicated, and it just sounds like Kyle Shanahan just makes it easy, and that's why guys can have success in this, in that offense.
Yeah, with having a rookie that you can just mold and make him into, start from scratch. I mean, it's just perfect for Kyle, But one thing I wanted to ask you guys is, I thought that when you guys got Deshaun, and I know he came in late last season, but I thought that, right? Was it last season? He started late? Okay. I was like, wait a minute, what year am I in? I thought he would maybe be kind of like the answer to your prayers because he's such a good quarterback, or how do you guys feel about him?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go? Because I got plenty to say.
I'll let you go, man. You got plenty to say. I'll let you go ahead. I'll bounce off of you.
Yeah. So first off, I mean, he's obviously the best one that we've had up to this point. He does have talent. you could see it, and especially in that Titans game, he was throwing the ball really well. Like the offense was moving, and everything was just starting to flow. So I do think he will be eventually.
Mhm.
And if we're paying him this freaking much, you would think he would. But I think the main and more bigger issue is possibly Stefanski's play calling. I don't know if it necessarily matches what Watson does well. I'm really surprised that at the very little amount of RPOs and shotgun plays with him, because again, you have to let him create space. He's never been a traditional pocket passer. He's always been that guy that can make plays with with his legs and be able to stretch the field that way. And so far, we haven't really seen any of that. And I'm getting a little frustrated with Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a little bit more to blame. And again, I'm not saying he is sole blame.
Yeah.
Because we also have a ton of things going on with our offensive line, starting with Jed Wells, who I have stated many, many times on this podcast already. We're only 4 episodes in. This kid annoys me, and I took him off the team, to be honest with you, and that's me being brutal and honest.
That's how we felt about Mike McGlinchey.
Yes, so
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot more glaring issues on the on that side of the ball, but I do not think he is necessarily the sole problem. I think there's a lot of things going on. I even think behind the scenes that's not being talked about. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely hope once he gets back and being healthy, quote unquote, that he can sort of get back and really get us moving, because I think a lot of Stefanski's offense was bailed out by Nick Chubb for so many years, because it's hard to not have some success on offense when you have a running back that averages 6.5 yards a carry. That's a first down every 2 downs if you're doing that. So you're going to learn a lot about Stefanski, and I've been asking for that for the last few weeks. So that's what I'm really trying to look forward to is can you just get with Watson and say, hey, this is what we're going to do now. We are going to put the ball in your hands. You are, the $230 million quarterback that we are paying to have that on this team. Go ball out and show that confidence, because I just don't know if there's a lot of confidence right now on that side of the ball, and it's a very weird feeling. So, Drew, what about you? What do you think about that? Because right now, it's definitely not just on Watson, but he does play a factor. But there is plenty of issues.
Yeah, no, like you said, dude, there's so many glaring issues. And, when Deshaun Watson first came to this team, I know a lot of people were concerned about the price. And obviously, they were upset with how he first started playing in the first 6 games of the season. And I was always a defender of, I've played sports my entire life. I played at a very high level. I played in college, and, there's chances I could have played in semi-pro and stuff like that. Like, I've played at a very high intensity level. People don't realize, even if you take just a couple months off, it throws you off so much, and you have to relearn so much. And when you take a year and a half, almost 2 years off of football, coming back to being a quarterback is not the easiest thing in the world. No, and so when you say oh, he sucked in the first 6 games of his,
you would have sucked.
Yeah,
you would have done it better.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I
can't even get on a bicycle right now. I haven't, rode a bike. I mean, I know how to, but
yeah,
it takes a minute.
But it's like you take something off for almost 2 years. Like if any of us were to take off 2 years of work, we'd be so rusty at what we would do the first week. We'd be so bad.
I tried it. Yeah. I tried it. It's hard.
Yeah. I'd be asking questions every single day. Yeah,
it comes back, but it takes a while for it to come back. And I've always said when it comes to sports, it takes. I always said it takes as much time as you took off to come back to be normal. Yeah. So if it takes 2 years for you if you miss 2 years of football, it'll almost take you 2 years to get back to being that elite level quarterback or that elite level stuff. And people need to realize this is his first full season in almost 2 years. Like you have to give him a chance. You have to let him,
let him
back
cook
into the rhythm of what he. Let him cook. Like Zach said, let him cook a little bit. But now people are like, oh well, he's being a baby. He's missing these games because of a shoulder injury. I've played with a knee contusion injury myself. This is on his throwing shoulder. I played with a contusion in my knee. I had to miss 3 weeks because I tried to play. I tried to play it normally, like the first game back, and I was like, I cannot run. I kicked the ball, my knee popped, and I felt like dog shit, and it's like
Yeah.
you cannot play, especially if you're a quarterback with your throwing shoulder having a contusion.
Yeah.
He already said it. It's like I couldn't throw no more than 10 yards. If I threw more than 10 yards, my arm was killing me. My shoulder was popping and hurting. It's like it's very, very difficult. What if you got hit there? Now
Right.
you're like Baker Mayfield. That shoulder is now separated, and you're gonna play on a separated throwing shoulder? I don't think so. So people
Right.
need to relax, calm down. Yes, we paid 230 million guaranteed to a guy like Deshaun Watson. There's a reason. It's because he was one of the best in the NFL. He was a top 5 quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He will get there, but you can't rush him back. You can't force him back. And the people who want him to play are saying, "Oh, he's a baby for not playing." Like, do you want him to die? And then we're back to square one with rookie
Right.
quarterbacks having to try and go out there and do the job. Like,
Yeah.
have you not had
You're
enough?
And you're just wasting your prime players' time in their prime. I mean, Miles Garrett isn't going to be as dominant as he is forever.
Yeah.
Denzel Ward is not going to last another few more years with the amount of concussions he's had. Like, there are guys on this team that are losing their their prime because we're having to mishandle certain injuries or just certain situations. That's the thing I think that is the most frustrating part of this team. And hopefully it gets shaken off. But I have said this to many groups over the years. I truly don't know if the Browns will ever fully be great until the Haslam regime is over. I have a lot of like crazy blame within that because I think they create these just unrealistic expectations and they're very trigger happy. The fact that Stefanski has lasted this long, it's really surprised me because usually they're a lot more jump the gun after 2 years of playing bad. But the fact of the matter is we haven't played as bad as we have in the past. And again, we're only 2-2. It's not like the world is ending. We're in a fine place. It's very early in the year, and you can't also compare Watson to Baker's thing where they both had their shoulder injuries because Baker was playing for a contract, that year, obviously.
And it wasn't a historic shoulder either.
Yeah, and he didn't get it. Watson already has the contract. You don't need the money. He just wants to play, but make sure he plays at a high, at a high level. So if he feels like he has to sit out, let him sit out. Like, I don't have any issue with that at all because it can make it so much worse. And I think people hear bone bruise and they're like, "Oh, it's just a bruise. Like it's fine." It's like you haven't played sports. Like you haven't. I don't think those people that make those complaints have actually.
I've played with the bone bruise and it sucked.
I played with a separated shoulder as a lineman. Like that was not fun for me at all. And it was 2 weeks into our 10-week season. Like it was not a fun time. So like people don't understand how pain management works. And there's some that obviously there's some that get it, but the people that see that and they say, "Oh, it's just a bruise," it's a lot deeper than that, literally.
Yeah.
And you really have to be careful with that. And I'm fine with it. I just hate how they've handled. I just hate how they've kind of handled all of the information that's coming out. Just seems like the front office is trying to keep too much, too much back, and it's there's just no reason for it. Just say, "Hey, he's going to be out for a few weeks. He's going to heal up, and we are going to play how we are." And that's it. That's all you have to do. You cannot drag this out and make a lot of these reporters have different headlines and varieties and biases because there are around here too, and I'm sure there are plenty down in San Fran as well. But that's the frustrating part. It's the social media aspect and just seeing everybody melt down, and you're like, guys, we are 2-2. We are not in a horrible spot.
Calm the fuck down.
Calm the fuck down. Okay. So, obviously you guys have had success, but what is your side of Twitter like? Because I'm really curious about that. Because obviously Brown's Twitter can be honestly too much sometimes. So how is it over there for you guys?
Yeah, it's oftentimes it's called toxic.
Yeah.
We're here.
It could be a dumpster fire. It could also be it could be a really nice support group. We come together for honestly, like birthdays, like, funny ass shit. We have this thing where it's like on Fridays we have hashtag Freaky Friday, and I swear to God, some the funniest memes and jokes, and we're just like laughing, dying, but then it really like activates some other random weirdos on Twitter, and they're like, and we're like, no, this is just for us, okay? It's within the confines of our 49ers Twitter group, like not some rando guy searching for porn. It's really funny. But yeah, we have like this guy Perk, who I've actually met in person, because we had this thing where we got together and tailgated for one of our home openers at Levi's. And so we met like a bunch of people from all different states and tailgated. But he does this rep that shit. So anytime someone posts like them in their jersey or whatever on Sunday, and then he'll quote tweet it. Yeah, I know it's called X, but fuck it, it's called Twitter. And then we'll say he'll say rep that shit, and so we're like, yeah, rep that shit. So we do come together in a positive way, but other times it's just like, I'm pulling receipts. Remember on this date you said this about Trey or Brock or Jimmy G. Where's the Jimmy Dick Riders now? And it's just like, dude, come on. Why are you dwelling on the past? So it's either or.
Yeah, honestly, I wish we had those issues. We are. There are currently a few guys in our space that are having a ton of drama right now. Sure, I'm sure you've seen a little bit of that, and I'm not even gonna list names and stuff because I don't feel like getting involved in it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay out of the drama. Like, it's fun to just, get some popcorn and just see these people argue, because it's like, dude, at the end of the day, like, it's football. Like, stop. Like, life isn't that serious. It's always like, it's okay. But
oh wait, there was a guy who actually had a list, and there was like, I think 100 people on it. I'm maybe it may have been like 60 or 70 of Jimmy G lovers, and I ended up on that list. Like, are you
had the Baker Bros, and they were very, very, very bad. They were, I mean, and a lot of them were also Oklahoma fans, which made it even worse. They weren't fans. They were Oklahoma fans, so you had to be like, dude, shut up, go root for your team, and then go root for Baker. I'm done with this. It's okay.
My God, these people.
Yeah, people just have like no time on their hands. Like, that's the other thing about being in this universe. First of all, like, you're gonna have people that are gonna talk crap about the things that you say on your show, because they have nothing else better to do. I don't know.
Right.
I never understand why people care so much about what other people's opinions are. I think it's hilarious, and I always laugh at it. But
it means you're doing good.
Exactly. So like, I don't know. Like, it is what it is, but it is also very funny how belligerent some people can be. Like, they will stoop to levels that you're like, man, like, you had a rough day, man. I'm sorry that you're just so miserable.
Yeah. Who, like, did somebody hurt you?
Yeah. Who hurt you, man? Take a drink and relax. My gosh.
Oh, you gotta love the couch people, man. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched. I think it was a college football something. I think it was this morning, whatever. And Pat McAfee pulled a kid out from the crowd to kick like a 35-yard field goal from Washington, and the kid held a sign that says "Kicking footballs is easy." And Pat McAfee saw it and he goes, all right, if you think kicking footballs is easy, come out here. So they put down like a little turf carpet on the sidewalk because it was raining in Washington, so they didn't want the kid to slip and fall and like break his neck. But Kirk Herbstreit held the football for him, and they put up a field goal post, and he was like, all right, this is 35. Pat McAfee's like, this is 35 yards. If you kick it, we'll give you $60,000.
Oh shit!
So he's like, we'll give you something that. Yeah, he's like, we'll give you something that'll pay off your tuition or whatever. We'll give you like $60K or something. And the kid misses it like wide left. He had the distance, but he missed it like way wide left. Like he scuffed the hell out of it, but it had the distance. And I guess they gave him like a bonus one. He made the bonus one, but it didn't count for the $60K. But it was like, so Pat McAfee says, "Kicking is easy, huh? You little." And he's like talking to the kid. He's like, "Kicking a football is easy, little." That's so easy now, dude.
Having Pat in this space, dude, it makes
It's fun.
that side of things so much fun because, like, again, he is not that like super serious guy. Like, he has really good takes and he knows the game, but he's also very trolly. He even
brought
comes
swearing
from
to
like the
ESPN.
WWE now. Like, he's all about just entertainment, and like at the end of the day, this is kind of what this is. At the end of the day, it's still it's just us having fun. Like,
Yeah.
us also entertaining ourselves as well, and it's people take it way too seriously. Really do.
They do.
No, and I love how Pat McAfee he brought swearing to ESPN. It's like, yay, we've had swearing on TV again. But,
yes. Make fuck good again.
No, it was just funny hearing him call a college kid a bitch or whatever. It was like, this is my time. This is what TV should be.
Exactly.
Right? God.
Or who was the old guy, Lee Corso, who would like put on the mask or whatever, like the mascot he would choose during like college football game days. And he's like, he still does it. Boy, I remember he called like a little kid. He's like, the kid's like, "Go Harper," or whatever. He goes, "Listen here, you little midget."
Oh my God.
I was like, I love Lee Corso. He makes it so much funnier.
I love politically incorrect shit.
Well, Lee Corso's like 80 years old. What are you gonna do? Tell him to stop? Like,
no,
you can't tell him to do nothing.
That's the best. That's the best.
So, I mean, obviously, we still have this fun little matchup between the Browns and San Fran. How do you think this is going to go, Gina?
Like score prediction or overall?
You can give one towards the end, but if you have anything you want to go,
kind of like a keys to the game type.
Yeah.
So I think depends on. Let's see who's going to be playing.
I'll put up right now. I'll have the injuries. So right now for San Francisco, Elijah Mitchell is questionable and Dre Greenlaw is questionable, and that's it for you guys.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I heard that Elijah. Yeah, definitely not counting on him. Yeah, I'd say.
It's okay. You don't have to be too nice.
Yeah, you have to be too nice. Just go for your full on like.
It's okay.
Just give your honest. We can take it. We're the Browns fans. I can take it. Give your honest your keys to the game. Your honest keys to the game.
Killed.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be like Dallas. I think it could be like 35-13.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that's a very fair score prediction. Like, I feel like that's very fair. So
or 10.
Yeah, like I think
or
the
3.
only thing,
No,
I wouldn't put it past us, to be honest with you. But,
something like that.
No, honestly, and I think the only questions for you guys is not even just like injuries because you only have 2 guys that are questionable. I think the main question for you guys is just the weather. Like, can Brock Purdy play in 40-degree rain? Like, it's really that's really the only question that needs to be answered. And if he could do that, obviously you guys are going to kill us. But
right.
I mean, for Zach, what's the key to the games for us? Like, I'm going to let you do this because I'm not going to bother with it. So, the keys to the game for the Cleveland Browns, Zach.
So, I think top one right now, if you can stop CMC and at least keep him from completely dismantling us, because he obviously has the ability to. If you can hold him in, I think it gives you a chance because then it forces you to make Brock Purdy beat you. And listen, if Brock Purdy beats us, so be it. That means he's good. But if you make him try to beat you and you can make plays and you can't keep them from really scoring, it gives us a chance regardless of who's at quarterback. So I think that's key one. I think obviously key two in general is the defense. I think the defense has to score for us this week in order for us to really even have a chance. Like, we definitely need to start creating turnovers. We've lost a turnover battle every single game, I'm pretty sure, this year besides Tennessee. So that's going to be another key. And then honestly, it's about being able to control the game on offense. I think we have to try to establish the run game a little bit. I really want to see Kareem Hunt get more touches Obviously Jerome Ford, he is the guy, I guess, right now. But Kareem is a guy that I really want to see get more, things here. He really deserves it, and I think he can really help us in our run game because we've struggled in it. And if you can get the run game going, the whole offense in general can kind of open up a little more. And again, if you can keep our defense off the field for a little bit and give them rest, it gives us a chance to really make San Francisco work on offense. If you can do that, anything is possible at home. But San Fran is a good team, and I still think San Fran beats us. But even if we can keep it close and it's like a 23 to 17 game, I will take that as a moral victory at that point.
Yeah.
So keep the game close and see what happens.
I realized I didn't say my keys. I just gave the prediction, but I think if Myles Garrett will be playing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
wow.
we got to somehow, keep him at bay, neutralize him or something, because he's dominant for a reason, so he's the only one I think that would be, because Nick Chubb, he's not playing. So
yeah.
That's probably the only player that I think would be really, if we can keep him from getting to Brock or any of our receivers. Because our defense kind of gets all around the quarterback. Like Fred Warner doesn't usually sack, but he manages every once in a while. But if we can do some damage and Brock just makes it doesn't let the weather affect him, then I think we should have a regular good game.
Yeah, and I think if it's nothing like what the weather was like against Cincinnati here in Cleveland, when the ball was slipping out of the hands of Watson, slipping out of the hands of Joe Burrow, if that's the case, if the weather's like that in Cleveland, I mean, it could be rely on heavily CMC type of ordeal for San Francisco, because if Brock Purdy can't throw the football, that's your only other option is jet sweeps with Deebo Samuel, Ayuk, and running with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
But I think the only thing I can say for the Browns is just offensive ball possession. How long can you keep the defense off of the field for the Cleveland Browns and not do what you did against Baltimore, where the defense was on every 2 minutes of the game? Like, if you could keep the defense off the field, that certainly helps you in the long run in this game, because then we're healthy enough for full strength. We're not gassed or tired. We can attack Purdy. We can attack McCaffrey. We can get back to the quarterback and such like that. So that's more or less my key to the game for the Browns, is just offensive ball possession, keeping the ball on your offense and not, allowing the defense to step onto the field as often as they were 2 weeks ago. So, Zach, score predictions. I know Gina gave hers. She said around 34 to 13, 10. So, which I think is, I think it's a fair prediction. Or 3. I think that's a fair prediction. I think that's very fair.
No, I wouldn't say 3. Maybe 7. The lowest.
Okay, fair enough.
Man, so first of all, I don't know if San Fran is going to score 30 on us, just because I think our defense has the capability to at least contain them somewhat. So I am going to say I still do think San Fran wins it. I think they'll win 28 to 14 or something. But again, it is one of those games where we could win. And if we do, it's going to be like a 23 to 20 type of game where we, win at the final buzzer. That's the only way I can really see us winning. I do not see us having to win in any sort of large fashion. But it is a very intriguing game. I'm really curious to see how our defense comes out and plays with 2 weeks of preparation. And Andrew, what do you think?
I mean, I think I'm going to go with the group here. I think it's going to be a 49ers win here, but I think it's going to be a lot lower of a scoring affair, because I do think the weather is going to be a major factor in the game. I do think it's going to be a lot run heavy for both teams. right now, as it is,
defensive battle for sure.
Yeah, because it's pouring rain right now here in Cleveland. I live in downtown, so I know what the weather's going to be like. I live 2 blocks away from the stadium, so
Oh, nice.
it's right now it's downpouring and it's about 22-mile-an-hour winds. So if it's going to be anything like today, it's going to be downpouring about 20-plus-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be a very difficult day to throw the football for both teams. It's going to be run heavy, defensive heavy game. I would say low scoring, probably 49ers 17, Browns 7.
Yeah, I can see that too. Absolutely.
I think it's gonna be very low scoring.
It's gonna be interesting.
We'll
It's gonna be
see.
nerve-wracking, but
Yeah.
you know, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like, credit where credit is due. The 49ers are a great team.
They are a
I've always
fantastic
thought,
team.
I've always thought they're a great team. So it's going to be a tough task. Me and Andrew were really going to look forward to this game when we still had Watson and we were still, healthy. We really were going to look at this game as sort of that first, like, hey, where are you at? Because San Fran's the good, the team to beat right now.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of gotten out of us a little bit, and it has kind of sort of sucked the wind out of us. So it's still going to be interesting. But 49ers are obviously going to come ready. It's just, can we get them in that trap game, or does San Fran take care of business? So we will see.
Yeah, Gina, would you like to plug your shows and plug your socials?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much, you guys, for having me.
Thank you
Andrew's
for joining us.
back. Yeah, it was so much fun. So don't pay attention to my banner. That is an old @ it's the one in blue that says there, if I could point correctly. @ the _Gina _V _ I had to rebrand. So I used to be Gina rep in the Bay, but no longer. So but I still rep the Bay. You could find me on Mondays and Wednesday nights at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern at Sports Laugh and Chill Show. It's on YouTube. And you could find me at that on all social media, and follow me on TikTok. I also am a TMZ regular. I always get asked for my opinions, and I post them on TikTok and sometimes on Instagram, but I'm usually lazy. So, but yeah, we talk all sports, mostly on our channel, and we represent the NFC. So because we have different fans like Philly, the Rams, and the Falcons, and as well as the Niners on our show.
Awesome. Well, Gina, it was a pleasure having you on the show again. It was a lot of fun to get our first guest on, and just being able to get a different perspective, outside of this. It's always fun to just have a nice, healthy discussion with other fans. It's always great. So, Drew, also thank you for getting her on here, because that was it was a lot of fun. So
hooray for marketing!
Thank you so much. Yes. And send me the link when you guys get it, and I'll post it on Twitter, and it's my Instagram stories, and we'll pump it up.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Anyway, Gina, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
This was the Just the Ascent podcast. We will see you guys next week.
We'll see you guys.